I was 32 years old when my husband died. 32. We had two young kids, 9 years of marriage, a whole life ahead of us, and in an instant, everything changed. I wasn't prepared. We had no will, no end of life plan. Why would we? We were young. Life felt infinite. But here's what I learned the hard way. Death doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't care if you're 32 or 82. It doesn't ask permission. And when it comes, the people you love are left scrambling, drowning in paperwork, passwords, and decisions they never wanted to make. I'm Lynn Stone, and this is The Flip Side of Death, the podcast where we talk about the one thing nobody wants to discuss, but everyone needs to prepare for. Today we're diving into my book, Till Death Do Us Part, a practical guide to preparing for the inevitable. And I promise you, this isn't morbid. This is one of the most loving things you can do for the people you care about. So let's talk about death. Let's talk about life. And let's make sure your family doesn't drown in chaos when the worst happens. Let's start with the elephant in the room. Why do we avoid talking about death? I mean, we all know it's coming. It's the one guarantee in life. But most of us would rather do literally anything else than sit down with our partner and say, hey, let's talk about what happens when I die. So why is that? Reason one, it forces us to confront our own mortality. Nobody wants to think about dying. It's uncomfortable. It's scary. It feels like if we don't talk about it, maybe it won't happen. But here's the truth. Avoiding the conversation doesn't prevent death. It just prevents preparation. Reason number two, it feels overwhelming. People look at death planning and think, I don't even know where to start. There's so much to do, I'll never get it all done. And you know what? They're right. If you try to do everything at once, it is overwhelming. But if you break it down, 1 week, one domain, one action step at a time, it's totally manageable. Reason number three, we think we have time. I'm only 40, I'm healthy, I'll do this when I'm older. But here's what I learned the hard way. Death doesn't wait for you to be ready. My husband was 42 and relatively healthy, and then he wasn't. You don't have to be old or sick to die. You just have to be human. Reason number four, we don't want to burden others. Some people avoid this because they think, if I bring this up, I'll upset my spouse, I'll scare my kids, I'll make everyone worry. But here's the real burden. Leaving your family with no plan to access and no guidance, having the conversation is a gift. Not having it is the burden. Reason number five, we don't trust ourselves to do it right. People worry, what if I forget something? What if I do it wrong? What if I make a mistake? And that fear keeps them from doing anything at all. But here's the truth. Done is better than perfect. A 70% complete plan is infinitely better than a 0% complete plan. So here's what I want you to understand. Resistance is normal. Fear is normal. Overwhelm is normal. But the antidote to fear is action. And that's what this podcast and my book are all about. Taking action, one step at a time. Let me tell you what happened when my husband died. It was March 2015. I was 32. He was 42. We had two young kids, and we had done nothing. No will, no plan, no conversations. When he died, I was drowning. I was grieving the loss of my partner while trying to figure out how to keep our lives running. I couldn't find passwords. I didn't know where important documents were. I had no idea what his final wishes were. I made decisions in a fog, decisions I later regretted because my judgment was impaired by grief. I spent over 500 hours, that's more than 70 full workdays, settling his estate, searching for accounts, calling companies, fighting with banks who wouldn't release funds without court orders. And the whole time I kept thinking, we should have talked about this. We should have prepared for this. But we didn't, because we thought we had time. After I came out of the fog, I started connecting with other widows and widowers. I joined support groups, in person and online, and I asked them all the same questions. What do you wish you had known before your partner died? Their answers were eye-opening. They wished they'd known where the passwords were, what their partner wanted for their funeral, how to access the bank accounts, where the life insurance policies were, how to run the lawnmower, how to pay the bills, what their partner's final wishes actually were. And that's when I realized this isn't just about legal documents. This is about everything. It's about the practical, everyday knowledge that keeps a household running. It's about making sure your partner isn't left searching for answers while they're drowning in grief. So I wrote Till Death Do Us Part to be the guide I wish I'd had. It's not just about wills and trusts. It's about laundry and lawnmowers. It's about passwords and pet care. It's about making sure your family can keep living after you're gone. Till Death Do Us Part is divided into 3 parts. Let me walk you through them. Part 1 is planning. This is where we tackle the big stuff, the legal, financial, and personal information your family will need when you die. We cover personal documents such as birth certificates, social security cards, passports, marriage certificates, divorce decrees, veteran documentation, retirement documents, transcripts, investment accounts, mortgage documents, life insurance policies, beneficiary designations, wills, trusts, living wills, business documentation, contact lists, and a complete asset inventory. Death plans and wishes. Do you want burial or cremation? Organ donation? What kind of ceremony? Viewing or no viewing? What about inheritance wishes? Family care. If you have kids, who takes care of them? What about their schedules, their diet, health, education, custody? What about other family members in the home? Elderly parents, special needs siblings? What about your pets? Finances, account information, passwords, household bills, online money transfer apps, taxes, insurance, investments, wills, and trusts. This section is about making sure your family knows where everything is and what you want. Part 2 is home management. This is the part most people don't think about, but it's the part that will save your family the most stress. We cover indoor chores like laundry, cleaning, dishes, vacuuming, deep cleaning, trash and recycling, indoor plants, cooking, appliances, cookbooks, and food storage. Outdoor chores such as equipment care, how to operate tools, checking gas and oil, gardening, mowing, trimming, property lines, and automotive maintenance. Fixing stuff such as basic tools, basic electricity, basic household repairs, and when to call a handyman or a specialist. And miscellaneous things like that box of keys, grocery shopping, electronics, swimming pools, and hot tubs. This section is about making sure your partner can keep the house running without you. And part 3 is living for the present. This is the most important part and the one people overlook. It's not just about preparing for death. It's about living fully while you're alive. We cover taking pictures and videos, sharing hobbies, going to events together, doing things together, going on vacation, and giving verbal affirmations. Because here's the truth. Your family won't just need your documents and instructions. They'll need your memories. They'll need to hear your voice, see your smile, remember your laugh. So take the pictures, record the videos, say, "I love you and I'm proud of you." Don't wait. All right, let's get practical. If you do nothing else this week, I want you to do one thing. Have the conversation. Sit down with your partner and say, "I love you. And because I love you, I want to make sure you're taken care of if something happens to me. Can we talk about this?" That's it. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to create a full plan today. Just start the conversation. Here's how to make it easier. 1, use a third-party story. Don't say, "We need to talk about death." That's too direct, a little too scary. Instead, you can say, "I was listening to this podcast and this widow said she couldn't find any of her husband's passwords. Can you imagine? That would be so hard." Another way is to frame it as protection, not death. Say, "I want to make sure we're protecting each other. If something happened to me, I'd want you to have access to everything, and I want the same for you." The other thing you can do is to just start small. Don't try to tackle everything at once. Just say, "Can we spend 10 minutes this weekend making a list of our accounts and passwords?" You can make it about them. Say, "What would you want me to know if something happened to you? What would make this easier for you?" And that's it. Just start. Because the hardest part of death planning isn't the work. It's the first conversation. And once you have that conversation, everything else gets easier. Here's what I want you to remember. Death is inevitable. Chaos is optional. You can't prevent death, but you can prevent the chaos that follows. My book, Till Death Do Us Part, A Practical Guide to Preparing for the Inevitable, walks you through every step of this process. It's not morbid. It's not depressing. It's one of the most loving things you can do for your family. In the next episode, we're going to dive into part 1, personal information. What documents you need, where to keep them, and how to organize everything so your family can find it when they need it. Until then, have the conversation, start the process, and remember, you're not preparing for death. You're preparing for life. A life where your family is protected, supported, and loved, even when you're not here to do it in person. I'm Lynn Stone. This is The Flip Side of Death, and I'll see you next time.